How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Week 8 score predictions video. I'm going to be going through all the NFL games taking place this week, Week 8. Can't believe we're already at Week 8. Almost halfway through the regular season. My God, it's absolutely flown by. But I'll be going through all the games that are going to be taking place, giving my score predictions, talk about how I think the game's going to go, all that good stuff. So I'll just dive straight in here. The first game is the Thursday game taking place tonight. The past couple weeks, I made a video just about the Thursday games and then released a video either Friday or Saturday about the rest of my score predictions. But today, I'm just going to do all the games in this one video. So starting with the Thursday game, Vikings Chargers. This is kind of a coin flip game for me. I'm honestly surprised the Chargers are favored by 3.5. I figured they'd be favorites. They're at home, but I figured it'd be like a point and a half, maybe. 3.5 is a bit surprising to me, especially because the Chargers have been struggling lately. They started the season 3-0. They've lost 3 of 4, and they just haven't been looking too great. And, on the flip end, the Vikings, they've been very up and down this season, been dealing with some injuries. Carson Wentz obviously has started most of the year. He's getting the start again in this one. Yeah, like I said, I think this is a coin flip game. Can go either way. Would certainly avoid betting on it. I threw a cheap bet, only like a $10 boosted bet on the on this game because DraftKings gave a boosted prop bet. Sorry, I'm looking at my text I'm getting here as I'm talking. But yeah, betting I would probably stay away from this game for the most part, at least in large amounts. Um, yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chargers to just get the close win here, 26-23. I would not at all be surprised if the Vikings win the game. I just think the Chargers are going to have a good amount of success passing in this game. Herbert coming off a 400 plus passing yard game against the Colts last week. They lost, but Herbert looked good. Had 2 turnovers, though. That really hurt the Chargers in that game. Chargers, obviously, the big thing with them, they're dealing with injuries. Herbert on like his 18th string lineman, it feels like. He doesn't have his top 2 running backs. Harris, obviously, out for the season. And then Hampton on IR. So they're just extremely banged up. They're starting to get a bit healthier defensively, but the Chargers defense obviously struggled last week against Indy. And, I could see the Vikings having a good amount of success in this game. I think Jordan Mason could get going. If the Vikings do win the game, I think it's going to be in large parts they're consistently running the football, and Jordan Mason, the run game, get going in this one. Jefferson might have a big game here. Chargers have been struggling to cover anyone, let alone Jefferson. You can make an argument it's the best receiver in the whole league. So Vikings could have a good day offensively. Defensively, I think they could get a good amount of pressure on Herbert. Again, with the Chargers' offensive line injuries they're dealing with. So look out for that. That could be a key to Minnesota winning this game. But I don't know. Chargers at home, kind of a coin flip. I don't know. My gut's kind of telling me to go with them. So that's what I'm going to do here. I think their defense plays a bit better than it's been playing the past couple weeks, but I don't think it plays great by any means. I just think they're going to win because I just simply trust Herbert more than Wentz in this game. So I'm going to slightly lean with the Chargers, but I'm not too confident in this game. Coin flip game should be entertaining. Can go either way, but I'm going to pick the Chargers, get the dub here, 26-23. Getting on to the Sunday games, Cleveland and my beloved New England Patriots. Definitely going with my team here. I'm picking us to win 27-13. I think our defense is going to win us this game. Browns offense has been absolutely horrible all year. Outside of last week, they had a really good performance last week. They broke their streak of scoring 17 or under. They scored 31. Judkins in the run game got going. Judkins has looked good this season. The run game has looked good in parts. But the Dolphins' run defense is abysmal right now. I think anyone can run on them. And what's the strength that we have? Our run defense. We haven't surrendered a 50-yard rusher this year. We get a really good run defense. Statistically, I think it's the best in the league. And that's pretty much the whole Browns offense. If they don't have a run game and we force them to pass, I think this is going to be a long game for the Browns. Kind of like most Browns games this season, though, I think their defense is going to keep it relatively close. The Browns' defense is legit. I think they'll be able to, force our offense into a couple of stops, punt situations. But at home, we're the better team, playing better football right now. We're on a hot streak, first home game in 4 weeks. The crowd's going to be even more electric than normal, I think. And I just I just trust our offense more than the Browns offense. So I'm going to give us the dub 27-13 in this one. If Cleveland somehow pulls off the upset, like I said, I think their defense will keep it close for, a good portion of the game, but their offense is just simply going to have to do more than I'm expecting it to. But I get a tough time seeing that happen. Brown defense will win the game if they win this one. If they somehow win the game. But I'm going to roll with my team to win this game 27-13. Pretty confident here. I'm probably going to bet the -7 spread, but who knows? Who knows? The Browns could cover it. Could be a lower scoring than this, at least for us. But I think our defense is going to play a really good game. We'll get the dub in this one. I'm pretty confident. 27-13 is my prediction here. Buffalo, Carolina. This might be a bit of a surprise as far as the score. Most people picking the Bills. I am too, so that's not a surprise. I'm pretty confident with Buffalo in this game. It would help if the Panthers won, my Patriots, I mean. But I think the Bills are going to come into this game. They're going to be pissed off at how they played the past two games. They lost both of them, have not played too great. Coming off the bye, I think they're going to get things cleaned up. They're going to kind of get their shit in gear, and they're going to put together just a really good performance. Panthers are playing some good football right now, but the Bills, even though they've been struggling, my gut is telling me they win this game comfortably. I honestly feel pretty confident Buffalo is going to put up at least like 20 in the mid 20s. I had them putting up 31. I could see them putting up more than that. I think Allen, Cook will have good games. I think the Bills defense has been struggling this year. I think they have a good defense. Looks like they're going to be playing Andy Dalton in this game, who is, obviously a serviceable backup, but my gut is just telling me that the Bills defense plays a good game. The Panthers struggle in this one. That's what my gut's telling me. If Carolina wins the game, maybe they get the run game going. The Bills, I mentioned their defense struggle in the season. In particular, well, they're kind of everywhere, but I guess the area they're struggling the most in is stopping the run. And the Panthers with Dowdle have obviously been going off. Now they got Chuba Hubbard back. They're in a split backfield now. Maybe the Panthers get the run game going. Their defense been playing a bit better. Maybe they have a solid game. Panthers, they get the run game going. That could be a key to win the game for them. But I'm honestly pretty confident with the Bills to win straight up. I may bet the spread. It may be a bit bold. Carolina's playing good ball right now. The Bills are not. But I'm kind of just oddly confident in this game with the Bills winning fairly big. So I'm going to pick Buffalo to get this dub 31-14. Jets, Bengals. This could be a bit of an interesting game. Now, I'm definitely picking the Bengals. They're favored by 6.5. I think they'll cover, but I'm probably not going to touch that spread because I think the Jets could be a bit more competitive in this game than people think. The Bengals defense all year has been terrible. That's no secret. So the Jets, and it looks like, I don't even know who the hell is going to play quarterback because it looks like it was going to be Tyrod Taylor, but now he's dealing with a knee injury. So I'm going to guess he's going to get the start, but honestly, I think their offense would be better with it's looked better at least so far this year with Tyrod Taylor than Justin Fields out there. But regardless, I think the Jets could get a decent amount of offense, especially if Tyrod's in there passing the ball over Fields. But I think in particular they could have a good day running the ball. That could get them some points. That could keep them close in this game. And the Jets defense the past 2 weeks has played 2 solid games back to back. So maybe the Jets defense has a good performance in this one. That along with the run game, maybe that's how they could steal this game. But Cincy at home with Joe Flacco playing the way he did last week against the Steelers, I don't think he'll score as many points and move the ball as well as they did, but I could see it. I had them scoring 28. It's just I get a hard time seeing how the Jets simply outscore the Bengals, especially at home, since he knows they need this game, cannot afford to lose this one. It looks like they're going to get Hendrickson back, so that'll be a bit of a boost for them. Even if they don't have Hendrickson, I'm still going to pick the Bengals in this game. I just really have a hard time seeing, like I said, the Bengals led by, Joe Flacco played phenomenal last week with, Jamar, T. Higgins. Chase Brown got it going last week against, the Jets with, we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. Their offense has been a complete disaster. I just have a hard time seeing Cincy getting outscored by them. So just on that basis alone, I'm going to roll with Cincy here. I wouldn't be shell shocked if the Jets pulled off the upset. I'd be a bit surprised, and I'm pretty confident with Cincy in this one. I'm going to roll with them 28-20. Miami and Atlanta. This could be a bit of an interesting game because the question is, what version of the Falcons are we going to get? They look good one week and then they look bad the next week. The Dolphins have just looked bad all season. They're an absolute disaster right now, getting absolutely hammered by the Browns last week. Tua throwing 3 picks, getting benched. Mike McDaniel just sounding like incoherent at his press conference. Tua throwing guys under the bus. The Dolphins are just a complete mess right now. But the Falcons, they're not a mess, but they're just so inconsistent. Maybe Kirk Cousins in this game. Penix is day to day. I think with a bone bruise is his injury, if I remember right. Regardless if it's Penix or Kirk Cousins, I'm picking Atlanta to win the game here. It would be nice to see Kirk Cousins, get a start. I still think Kirk Cousins could be a solid quarterback. So, maybe he gets a start, plays good in this one, gets a dub. Who knows what that could do for his NFL future. Atlanta favored by 7.5 on the road, or not on the road, at home here. They very well could cover that. I could see a scenario where the Falcons just completely blow the doors off the Dolphins and they win by multiple scores, and it's just another disastrous performance by Miami. But I'm going to stay away from that spread for Atlanta. I think Miami is going to keep this game close. And even though, like I said, it's been a disaster for the Dolphins this season, in pretty much all of their games, they've been right there, except for last week against the Browns. In their losses, they've been right there, as bad as they've been. And again, maybe they're going up against Kirk Cousins, who technically is the backup, but you can argue, it's not much of a drop off from Penix. Kirk Cousins was playing good for a good portion of the year last year. Going up against an inconsistent Falcons team. Maybe Waddle is a big game. This one, A-Chain, maybe his speed hurts the Falcons. Falcons defense, the Dolphins defense, it's sort of been getting better. Their pass rush is decent. Maybe they can get some pressure. That could be the keys to Miami winning the game. But Bijan, I think, is going to absolutely kill the Dolphins here. I've mentioned earlier that the Dolphins' run defense can't stop a parked car right now. Well, good luck stopping Bijan Robinson. That's all I have to say to the Dolphins. Bijan is going to absolutely kill them in this game. Maybe even Algier is a big game here. And honestly, that could be a key to the Falcons winning this game big. They just keep running the ball, jump out to an early lead, drain some clock. Their defense forces some stops, and the Falcons are just in complete control of the game. That's how they could cover the spread. But I think Miami's offense may be, a bit better than people were expecting in this game. The Falcons, win the game, but not as convincing as what most people are predicting. If this was in Miami, I honestly might pick the Dolphins because the Falcons have just been so inconsistent. But they looked bad last week, so maybe they play good this week. That's kind of been the trend with the Falcons. And then if the trend continues, they play my team, the Patriots, next week. So hopefully it does continue that way. But I'm going to roll with Atlanta at home here. They're the better team. And even though they're inconsistent, they're playing better football. Dolphins are a disaster. Their run defense is terrible. Bijan should absolutely kill them in this game on paper. So I'm going to roll with the Falcons to win this game. I also could see their defense just making it like a nightmare from hell from Tua. Their defense looks phenomenal in parts this season. Jeff Ulbrich doing a good job there. So Atlanta has more ways to win the game than Miami here. I'm going to roll with them to win the game 26-20. Giants-Eagles. This is an interesting game. I can't believe the Eagles are favored by 7.5, honestly. Now, obviously, we just saw these teams play 2 weeks ago, and the Giants absolutely killed the Eagles. Even though Philly was leading for a decent portion of that game in the first half, the Giants just, you kind of just felt they were outplaying the Eagles, and then they really, you know, just killed them in the second half. The Giants have been playing a lot better since Dart took over. Of course, they should have beat Denver last week. They absolutely blew that game in historic fashion. And even the Saints game, the other loss they have with Dart starting, you can argue they should have won that game too if they didn't turn it over 5 times. So honestly, there's a decent amount of logic that suggests the Giants can win this game. You just can say, well, they won 2 weeks ago. And the Eagles, they've been up and down this year. They probably had their best offensive performance, at least most complete performance against the Vikings last week. So maybe they figured something out there, but you can argue maybe it's just an outlier. They go back to normal. Giants defense killed them 2 weeks ago for the most part. Um, so there's a decent amount that's just the Giants could win the game. I could, if they do win the game, I think Dart and company, they'll have an offensive performance similar to how they've been playing, similar to how they, you know, did against the Eagles a few weeks ago. Not as much, but I could see their offense just having a good game in this one, winning just from that. Their defense, I could see them having some causing some issues to the Eagles there. If the Giants win this game, I basically think it'll be similar to the blueprint 2 weeks ago, how they beat the Eagles. Not, in the same manner and as in a convincing fashion and as many points as they did, but similar game plan. The Eagles, though, it's tough to beat a team twice in a season in general, especially in a 2 week span. And the Eagles, like I mentioned, it looks like they figured something out offensively last week. And even though they got killed by the Giants 2 weeks ago, there was, like I mentioned, there was a portion of the game they were leading at the half. They were, even though when the Giants were in complete control, the Eagles were thrown in the end zone with like 8, 9 minutes or something like that in the fourth quarter to cut it to a 3-point game. So they would have been right in that game if Hurts didn't throw that pick, as disastrous as it felt in that game. And Vic Fangio and company, the defense got torched by Dart. I think the Phillies defense is going to play a solid game in this one. I could see the Giants really struggling offensively, only scoring like 13, 14, 15, 16 points, something like that. Vic Fangio, it just feels like last week, the Vikings threw the ball on them. The Eagles defense only held them to one touchdown. They couldn't get in the red zone, kicking like a million field goals that game. So maybe that's a key for the Eagles to win. I just think Philly's offense plays better than it did 2 weeks ago, and I think they basically pick up where they left off last week, but I don't think they light the Giants up. I could see Philly winning kind of comfortably. If the Giants win, I certainly think it'll be a one-score game, but I could see Philly winning, really, putting together an even better game offensively than they did last week. But I don't know. Tough to beat a team twice in 2 weeks. Eagles were kind of in that game. They're playing better ball since then. The Giants coming off a devastating loss. Eagles, I think they're just coached better. I think they'll adjust from the game 2 weeks ago. I'm going to pick Philly to get the dub here. I'm probably going to stay away from that 7.5-point spread, even though they very well could cover it. But I'm going to pick Philly to win this game 27-21. Chicago and Baltimore. Yeah, this is a very interesting game. So the Bears are red hot right now. They've won 4 in a row. And the Ravens are a disaster right now. They're 1-5. Their defense is just playing absolutely terrible this season. They're injured beyond belief. So how the hell are the Ravens at 1-5 with everything that's gone wrong for them? 6.5-point favorites. Now, that's the big question going into this game. I honestly feel fairly confident with Baltimore to win this game, which is really weird because they're 1-5. I think the Ravens starting this game are going to go on a run this season and make a playoff push. I think they're going to play like one of the better teams in the league, like the Ravens we expected them to be this season. We saw defensively against the Rams the last game they had 2 weeks ago. They got some guys back on defense. They played a lot better, changed some things around. They held the Rams to 17. So, getting healthier, they had a bye week to change some things around again, improve and adjust in that area. and they're going against the Bears offense, which it's been solid this season, but it just feels like they're kind of stuck in like the 20-ish point range, somewhere around there. So Baltimore's offense is with Lamar has not been a problem this season. With obviously Cooper Rush and Huntley, it's been an issue. But I guess against the Chiefs, they didn't do too much. But even when they were losing, Lamar and the offense were going off, and they're going against the Bears defense. It's played a lot better, but sort of like the Jaguars, it's very turnover based as far as how successful they are. How long are the Bears going to be able to keep forcing all these turnovers? That's a big reason why they keep winning these games. Once the Bears stop forcing these turnovers, which I don't think is sustainable in the long term, I think they're going to start to lose some games, and their defense is going to look worse and worse. But who knows? You can argue that Derrick Henry's had his fumbling issues. Maybe they force a fumble there. But if the Ravens don't turn it over, I think they'll win this game. Pretty confident with that. I don't think they are going to turn it over. I think they're going to honestly win this game sort of convincingly, just have control, win the game. They're going to look like the Ravens we expected them to this year. I think their defense plays solid. Their offense is a turnover. Their offense looks great. I think the Bears' defense is a rough showing in this game. I'm pretty confident with Baltimore, honestly, which is insane to say at 1-5. I don't mean to disrespect the Bears at 4-2 on a 4-game win streak, but if Chicago does win this game, like I said, maybe their defense can keep up forcing those turnovers. Their offense, maybe they go off. The Ravens' defense is still struggling. That could be keys to the Bears winning this game, but I'm kind of oddly confident with the Ravens to win this game, even though they're 1-5 and the Bears are on a 4-game win streak here. So I have Baltimore winning the game 30-20. I'm probably going to stay away from the spread, even though I have the Ravens covering it. It's insane to see a 1-5 team as a 6.5 point favorite, especially over a team that's 4-2 on a 4-game win streak. But I'm going to roll with Baltimore to get the dub 30-20. Should be an interesting game in that one, though. Niners and Texans. This is an interesting game. Oh, do I? Okay, I thought I had minus 15 by accident instead of 1.5. So the Texans are favored, which honestly, I mean, I'm not shocked, but I'm a bit surprised by. I'm pretty confident with the 49ers to win the game in this one. Now, this is absolutely going to be, at least on paper, logically it suggests this should be a very low scoring game. The Texans defense is really good, one of the better units in football, and that defense alone is going to win them and keep them in some games. We just saw the Seattle game Monday night. They had absolutely no business being in that game with how poorly their offense was playing. And their defense single-handedly was keeping it a game. They even scored a touchdown that their defense did themselves on Darnold in the end zone. So the Texans defense is absolutely going to keep this game close. So is the 49ers defense. 49ers defense, one of the better units in football too. Both defense is extremely well coached, play extremely well. Obviously, the Niners dealing with, a million injuries on both sides of the ball. But fortunately for them, they're playing a Texans offense that has just been a complete mess most of the season. The only good performance they really had was against the Ravens, where their defense was really struggling, and it was just a disaster at that point in time for Baltimore, and they put up over 40. But besides that, the Texans offense has been really bad most of the season. And Robert Saleh, I think, like I say every week, great defensive coach. I think he's going to have his guys ready to play. They're really going to limit the Texans' offense in this game. And which offense do I trust more? The Texans offense, which it looks very poorly coached. The line can't block. They can't run. And that Nico Collins, I think he's out in this game. Actually, let me check his injury. Let's see here. I think he's out. Let's see. Battling a concussion. So yeah, I'm gonna take a guess that he's out. So that'll be even, a bigger boost than the Niners defense. Obviously, that hurts the Texans more. Their best receiver being out for the game. But yeah, which offense do I trust more? The Texans offense that is poorly coached right now. Stroud's struggling. He's missing throws, playing bad. The line can't block. They can't pass. They can't run. or the Niners offense, which I know Shanahan gets a lot of shit from people, but I think he's still one of the better offensive coaches in football. In the Niners offense, it's honestly been solid this season considering all the injuries they have. My old guy Mac Jones has been pretty good. So I trust the Niners offense more, even though I think the Texans, especially with all the injuries the Niners have, I think the Texans defense is better at the moment, but I think the Niners defense just plays a bit better than the Texans in this game, and their offense does just enough, and the Niners defense ends up, winning the game for, and their offense does just enough. Houston, if they win the game here, like I said, I think their defense will be the reason they win. Their offense is just going to have to overperform a bit how I'm expecting it to. I think if either team gets to 20 to 23, they're going to win the game. So that should be the goal for either team here. I had the Niners winning the game 20 to 16. I'll be surprised if either team scores more than like 20. Well, actually, maybe not the Niners. I think like 23 for the Niners, 24 is like the max. Barring like a pick six, a punt return, things like that. Great field positioning. They're set up at the goal line, things like that. If the Texans score more than 20 in this game, I'll honestly be surprised. But yeah, low scoring game. I'm just going to trust the Niners offense more than the Texans. Both defenses play great, but I'm going to roll the Niners. Get technically the upset is road underdogs. I'm going to roll them to get dubbed 20 to 16. If I can advance my slide, there we go. Tampa and New Orleans. This could be an interesting game. Again, New Orleans this year has been bad, but they've been more competitive than I think most people have thought they would be. And Tampa coming off their worst game of the year, their offense by far their worst performance of the year. Baker was off. He played pretty poorly in that game. Couldn't get really much going. Just a lot of short passing and checkdowns against the depleted Lions secondary. So they're probably going to be pissed off at how poorly they played. The Bucs defense actually kept them in that game. They played a decent game in that one. But yeah, going against the Saints, obviously the Tampa New Orleans rivalry. As a diehard Tom Brady fan, I know well about that, very well about that rivalry. But yeah, I'm going to roll the Bucs here. I think, like I said, they're going to be pissed off how they played last week. I think they bounce back offensively. I don't think I could see them lighting it up, scoring 30 plus, but I'm going to say the Saints defense, keeps them relatively, below 30 by a bit. I had them scoring 26. I think Baker bounces back. He has a good game. I think it'll be kind of close early on, then Tampa will kind of consistently have like a 10 to 13 point lead most of the game. That's going to be the type of game it is. Something like that, I think. I think Tampa's defense plays solid in this game. They're just the better team. They're playing better ball. And like I said, the Saints, even though they've been competitive, they're better than people have expected this season, even though they only have one win. They only have, I'm not losing my mind, right? The Saints only have one win, right? Yes, the Saints only have one win. For some reason I thought they had two wins. Anyway, the Saints at home, like I said, I think their defense could keep it relatively close. I could see the offense, maybe like a deep shot to Shaheed. I could see the offense having some success. Kellen Moore is, I remember the wild card game. Obviously, different team. Well, still the Bucs, but different roster. Obviously, Kellen Moore's the Cowboys. Much different situation, but Kellen Moore really outcoached Todd Bowles in that game. So he's had success against Todd Bowles, you can say, even though actually, even back in 21, the Cowboys offense, the season opener, they moved the ball well on Todd Bowles' defense. In the 22 season opener, though, not season opener, for both these teams, not like the NFL season opening, the Cowboys offense only had 3, and Tampa's defense absolutely dominated that game. But anyway, my point is Kellen Moore has kind of had success against Todd Bowles, so Rattler's been playing solid. Maybe the Saints offense could have a decent showing in this one. Their defense, I could see their defense playing a surprisingly good game. So those could be keys to the Saints pulling off the upset. But I'm going to roll Tampa here. Better team. Not a great performance last week. I think they'll bounce back, take care of business here. They're 4.5 point favorites. I think they'll cover that, but not 100% sure if I'll bet that spread, but I think they'll cover it. I'm going to roll with Tampa here to get the dub, 26-17. Should be an interesting game, though. Oh boy. Tennessee and Indy. Yeah. Well, obviously I'm gonna go with the Colts here. If the Colts lose this game, I'll be beyond shocked. The Colts are playing like the best team in football right now. The one game they lost, they probably should have beaten the Rams. To me, they outplayed the Rams that game. They just got unlucky with the 280 Mitchell plays, the fumble in the end zone, and then at the 1 yard line that went out of bounds with a touchback, and then the holding call on Mitchell that erased a Jonathan Taylor touchdown. But they also should have lost against Denver. They got a bit lucky there with the penalty at the kick. So I guess it kind of evens out a bit. But regardless, they're playing like the best team in football. Their offense cannot be stopped. Their defense playing really solid ball too, forcing some turnovers. And these teams played earlier in the year. The Colts annihilated them. I really do not see the Titans winning this game. I mean, at any given week, any given team can win the game, but I would be beyond shocked if the Titans won this game. There's not much logic that just the Titans can go on the road in Indy to beat the hottest team in football, and you can make an argument the Titans are right down there with the Jets for the worst team in football. So, yeah, I just have a hard time seeing the Titans winning this game. I think the Colts offense and defense have really good games. Per usual, well balanced game. Danny Dimes, good game, spreading the ball. Jonathan Taylor probably is another good game, coming off a 3 touchdown performance against the Chargers. The Titans, if they somehow win this game, every game I like to try to outline why both teams can win, but the Titans, it's just going to have to be a weird game. I think their defense is going to have to force some turnovers. Their offense just randomly has a good game. Maybe special teams gives them a boost. I just do not see it at all. Colts are 14-point favorites. I'm probably going to stay away from that because I rarely will bet double-digit spreads. I think Indy will cover it though. Yeah, I think the Colts just win this game convincingly. Would be shocked otherwise. I get Indy winning this game 34-14. Dallas and Denver. This is going to be a really good game. At least it looks like that on paper. I'm going to pick the Broncos to get the dub here 27-24. Picking the Cowboys in this game would be a really good upset pick. I think this is close to a coin flip game. Now, I'm going to say if Denver, their offense starts off how it has really the past 3 games against Philly, the Jets, and the last week against the Giants, if they start off slow and don't do much and they just stall out for most of this game, Dallas is going to win the game, almost certainly. If Denver goes into the fourth quarter with only like 12 points, sorry, not 12 points, like 0 to 10 points, they're going to lose the game. This Dallas offense is I think it's the number 1 ranked statistic offense. I can't talk. It's the number 1 ranked offense statistically. That's what I was trying to say. Dak having a great year. Javonte Williams revenge game. Maybe he goes off in this one. However, the reason I'm picking Denver is because I think their defense is I don't think their defense is gonna play great. I think the Cowboys will have a good game offensively. I think Denver's defense will just do enough to get the job done. They'll force a few stops on the Cowboys. And I think Denver's offense kind of snaps out of whatever they've been in, where they wait until the fourth quarter to start moving the ball and putting points up. I think last week against the Giants, I think they'll pick up from where they left off in that game offensively. And obviously, Dallas's defense has been horrible this season, but it seems like they've been playing a bit better. I honestly could see, again, if Denver starts off slow, Dallas's defense, which I just mentioned, maybe playing a bit better the past couple weeks. Maybe Dallas's defense has a surprisingly good performance, at least at the start of the game. Then Denver does their thing. They fight back late, but they just come up a bit short. Dallas holds on. Could see that. Yeah, Dallas jumps out to an early lead. Their defense plays good. It's like, Jesus, Broncos, what is going on? Then Denver makes a late push. It's like they're going to win the game, but Dallas holds on. That honestly could be how the Cowboys win the game. But Denver, like I said, I think their defense will do just enough. Their offense kind of gets out of whatever the hell funk they've been in, where they wait till the fourth quarter to start moving the ball and putting points up. I don't know. I'm gonna pick the Broncos, but I'm tempted to pick the Cowboys. Could go either way. If this was in Dallas, I probably would be picking the Cowboys. But it being in Denver, I think that obviously helps the Broncos out a bit. I'm going to roll with Denver here, but I'm very uneasy. Probably going to stay away from this game betting wise. honestly, I might bet Dallas plus 3.5. Um, I if I were to debate this game with someone, I honestly very easily could be persuaded to go with the Cowboys. That's how uneasy I am with this game. I think it's borderline a coin flip. I'm going to roll with Denver, though, 27-24. Really entertaining game on paper, though. Should be. Sunday Night Football, the Aaron Rodgers revenge game, Packers, Steelers. I'm going to roll the Packers here. Now, this game I think could go either way. I think this is close to a coin flip. Green Bay is 4-1-1. Again, I hate the tie. I think that needs to be another rule change where they just get rid of ties and play until there's a winner. But Green Bay 4-1-1. But the past few weeks, it just feels like they've not been playing the best football, even though they've been winning. But the number one seed in the NFC, so that's good for them. The Steelers, on the other end, their defense was bad the first two games. Then it played good from there on out. And then last week it was horrible against the Bengals. I think their defense plays a solid game in this one, but I think offensively, I just trust the Packers a bit more than the Steelers, even though the Steelers' offense has been getting it going the past few weeks. I don't know, just schematically, I trust the Packers offense to outdo the Steelers defense this game. Like I said, I think the Steelers defense will get a few stops in this game. There's probably going to be a stretch in this game where the Packers offense might be struggling. It looks like the Steelers are going to win the game, but at the end of the game, I think it'll be close. At the end, I don't think either of these teams win by more than one score. I think it goes down to the wire, regardless of which team wins this game. I just trust the Packers offense to put together a clutch drive, something like that. Steelers defense struggling. That LaFleur, excellent game planner. I think he'll take advantage there. But again, as I mentioned, the key to the Steelers win the game, their offense could just simply outdo the Packers offense because their offense has been playing well lately. The Packers defense has really not been playing too great, it feels like, the past few weeks. So maybe the Steelers offense is clicking at the right time. They're getting an argument. I don't want to say struggling Packers defense, but not, the best version of the Packers defense. Rodgers has been looking good. He obviously, I'm sure he's going to be extra motivated this game. So maybe the Steelers pissed off how they lost the Bengals last week. They bounced back Sunday night. So just the fact that it's Sunday night in Pittsburgh suggests the Steelers have a good chance to win the game alone. But yeah, I'm just going to roll the Packers here. They're favored by 3 on the road. Probably, I think if they do win, it'll be by 3. I had them winning by 5, but I don't know if I'll touch that because this game, I could see either of these teams winning by 1 or 2 points at the end, something like that. So I'm probably not going to touch the spread. Just going to pick the Packers marginally here. Could go either way. Obviously, if it was in Green Bay, it'd be even a further Aaron Rodgers revenge game. But yeah, if the Steelers win, like I said, I think Rodgers and their offense could have a good game in this one. Rodgers has a field day passing it. And their defense, I could see their defense having a solid game, giving the Packers some issues. But Green Bay, like I said, I just trust their offense more than the Steelers' defense in this game, schematically and coaching-wise. So I'm going to give the Packers a slight edge to win this game, 26-21. Could go either way, though. Should be an entertaining Sunday night game. Monday Night Football, we get the Commanders at the Chiefs. And unfortunately, as a Chiefs hater, I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this game. I really just don't see how the Commanders win the game, honestly. They're struggling right now. Their defense is playing really bad football, and the Chiefs are clicking on all cylinders right now. Their offenses look good the past few weeks. They probably could have put up like a 50 bomb on the Raiders if they didn't take their foot off the gas and kind of just mercy rule them, it felt like, in that game last week. Chiefs defense playing really well right now. The one thing the Commanders got going is their offense has been keeping them in games, and Jayden Daniels out this week. Obviously, that's a bit of a boost for the Chiefs, although Mariota's played very well for the Commanders when he's had to step in place of Daniels. So you can argue it might not be that far of a drop off. But, I mean, just simply, if you just I guess matchup-wise, Chiefs at home, Monday Night Football favors them. what offense do you trust more? The Marcus Mariota-led offense against this Chiefs defense playing extremely well, or the Patrick Mahomes offense with all of his guys and the healthy Chiefs? Obviously, that's an advantage for the Chiefs. And then defensively, as I mentioned, the Commanders have been playing horrible, and the Chiefs are playing good defense. So pretty much everything logic suggests the Chiefs should win this game. I honestly think it'll be like 30, like 31 to. I could see the Chiefs putting up like 35 plus on this struggling Commanders defense. I think the Chiefs will be up big late and then probably be in some prevent and allow a garbage time touchdown so the game looks more respectable. I'm unfortunately pretty confident the Chiefs are going to win this game comfortably. Obviously, I'll be rooting for the Commanders as a Chiefs hater, but I really don't see it. They're favored by 12.5. I'm probably going to stay away from that spread because, like I said, even though I have them covering it, I think there's a good chance the scenario I just outlined of the Chiefs just basically being up big late and allow a garbage time touchdown that could ruin the spread. That's the problem with a lot of double-digit spreads in the NFL. Washington, if they do win the game, like I said, I just really have a difficult time seeing it. But who knows? Any given team, any given week can win a game. Maybe their offense just plays really well in this game. I do think there'll be some drives where they move the ball, but I think there'll be some drives they move the ball and say, oh, they're going to score here, and then the Chiefs will get a sack or they'll force a pick or something like that. But maybe, obviously, avoid turnovers that helps win any game. Their offense just clicks, has a good performance. Defensively, I really do not see them having a good game in this one. I think Andy Reid's going to run circles around Joe Witt this game. Maybe the Commanders' special teams gives them a boost. Their offense, as I mentioned, maybe they just have a good game, move the ball better than expected. They're just going to have to overperform. I'm expecting them to. They're going to have to get some weird things to go their way, like muff punts, fumbles, things like that. I just, unfortunately, as a Chiefs hater again, have a hard time seeing the Commanders winning this one. So I'm going to roll the Chiefs to win this game 31-17. Okay, let me make sure I got all the games covered. Okay, yep. So yeah, on paper, looks like a pretty good week of football. It looks like a lot of kind of one-sided picks, if I had to guess. Looks like most of the public is going to be picking one team over the other in most of the matchup. There's really, I feel like, not too many games that could go either way this week. Last week, definitely my best picks week. I feel pretty confident with most of my picks this week. Again, the only game I'm kind of iffy on, well, I guess Minnesota and the Chargers, and then the Dallas-Denver game I mentioned. But besides that, I guess Niners, Texans, that could go either way, but I'm kind of a bit confident with the Niners there. And then Bears, Ravens, I'm not I'm confident with the Ravens, but I think Chicago has a decent chance there. And then the Giants, I guess, have a decent chance too. Dolphins, Falcons, that could be interesting. But anyway, yeah, hopefully I have another good week of picks. Definitely my best week of picks in the season last week. I've been struggling picks-wise ever since I booted up this YouTube channel last year. I've been doing much worse in my picks than I have in prior years, of course, so I seem like a freaking idiot that doesn't know anything about football, probably. But, yeah, as I always say in these videos, if you guys make any bets, go up with your bets, go up with fantasy, your picks, all that good stuff. I will end this video here. Dylan and I think, later, as things stand now at least, are going to try to record a podcast episode, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. But I will wrap this video up here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed, and take it easy, guys.